Hi, we have with us today Dr. Monica Stigler. She serves as a project coordinator for a project we have called PEACH, which stands for Preschoolers, Experiences, and Activities in Childcare. She also has a background in policy, race, and politics. Hi, Monica. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Jamie, thanks. Good morning.
So our question for you is, we know that in Ohio, educational opportunities as well as outcomes fall along racial lines and socioeconomic lines. This is true when children are school age, but it starts even before then in the birth to 5 space and in the childcare space.
Mm-hmm.
From your perspective, what do you think is the single most important policy issue we should focus on in the coming year so that early education and early childhood becomes more equitable?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I want to open by saying I don't think that this is an Ohio-specific problem. It's a problem that impacts every community across the United States, and it's a result of systemic racism compounded over many generations that have led to the inequalities and inequities that we see in education. So I don't think that there are any silver bullets or any one policy solution that's going to get us towards more equitable outcomes, particularly for minorities and folks living life on the margin. I do think there are a couple of things that we could focus on immediately that would help lower income families and middle class families, especially during this economic downfall that we're experiencing through the pandemic. So those two things I think would be to expand the child tax credit and actually expand it permanently, not just for this year. We could also look at expanding in Ohio eligibility access for publicly funded childcare. I think that would be a big help, especially to middle class families right now. But overall, I think we need a more robust strategy that takes into account all the social determinants of education. And it's something that we should work towards together, particularly with the folks that we're trying to help close the gap with. And that policy agenda should include things like wealth generation and wage parity. We should look at safe neighborhoods and housing policies. We should also look at access to healthcare early on and through the lifespan. Those things I think make a big difference in just a child's ability to learn and a family's ability to focus on the child more holistically. Those things I think are really important. So there are a few neighborhoods or communities that have started looking at reparations for minority communities, particularly those who have lived in the community for a long time. So for example, in Providence, this is particularly looking at African-American communities and Native American communities and figuring out how do we develop policies that particularly address the many disparities that they're experiencing. Other communities that have done this are Evanston, Illinois, and Asheville, North Carolina. So the policies that they are enacting have to do with the very historical context that these communities have experienced that have led to these large disparities in education and wealth and health throughout many years. So I think that looking to these communities and the strategies that they're developing and eventually the policies that they'll enact can help us figure out a way forward. Anything that we do here in Columbus or the state more generally should also take into context our specific history and residents here. But these things are heartening and give me hope and some optimism to look towards the future that maybe we have a real chance this time to think of a strategy and a solution that addresses systemic inequality in education and many other dimensions over time.